father. And for Israel, it was a big problem. This was its most elite fighting force. And yet again, another bungled operation. One Israeli general said afterwards, he said, it's one thing for people to think we're crazy, that's okay. But it's bad when they think we're incompetent and crazy. And that's the way we look. Now Israel has a big problem in its hands. Loses a war in 2000, another defeat in 2006. They had a bungled commando operation in early 2010 in Dubai. Another bungled commando operation on the Mavi Marmara in May 2010. Gaza, which was supposed to restore their deterrence capacity, it inspired less dread than it did disgust at the cowardice of the attack. So now Israel has to do something spectacular to restore its deterrence capacity. And what is it going to do? Well, about a year ago, the speculation began that Israel was going to launch another attack on Lebanon in order to, once and for all, defeat the Hezbollah. The former U.S. ambassador to Israel, Daniel Kurtzer, he said that Israel will attack Lebanon in the next 12 to 18 months. And the Israelis were already very straightforward about how they were going to conduct the attack. They even had a nice technical term for it. They called it the Dahya Doctrine. Anyone here from Lebanon? Okay, so you're from Lebanon?
But I don't recognize Dahya.
Okay. My Arabic pronunciation is not terrific. You're from Lebanon?
Yes.
How would you pronounce it?
Dahi.
Dahi.
The south suburb of Beirut. So say that loud. Dahya. And they had a term, they coined the phrase, the Dahya Doctrine. And that basically, that did refer, when Israel attacked Lebanon in 2006, it went into the south suburb of Beirut, which is composed mostly of poor Shia civilians, very faithful, loyal to the Hezbollah, and turned that area into a parking lot. There was just nothing left. I happened to have visited shortly thereafter, and it was a kind of eerie scene. Apart from some craters, there was just nothing. It was all flat. And the Israelis were very pleased with what they did, and they coined a term. They called it the Dahya Doctrine. And the Dahya Doctrine basically meant to use massive force against civilians and civilian infrastructure. They first applied it in Gaza in 2008-9, but now they were promising a repeat performance in Lebanon. And at one point, Israel and Hezbollah, they agreed. Israel said the next war will be game-changing. And Mr. Nasrallah of the Hezbollah, he said, the next war will change the face of this region. Mr. Nasrallah said, the time has passed and Israel is going to use the Arab world as its shooting gallery. He said, in the event of another war, it's going to be tit for tat. An airport for an airport, a port for a port, a city for a city, a building for a building, a power station for a power station, a factory for a factory. Like Mr. Nasrallah or not, one thing everyone can agree on, there's an exact correspondence between what he says and what he does. And he knows his whole reputation rests on the fact of that exact correspondence. So there's every reason to suppose that he means what he says and will, in fact, he must do what he promises. And then you have to use your own imaginations. What will happen if Hezbollah retaliatory strikes start hitting Tel Aviv and there are massive civilian deaths? It's a pretty terrifying scenario. And then it becomes more terrifying because of one thing you can say with certainty. This part is speculative for sure, but one thing you can say with certainty. Israel will not accept another defeat in Lebanon. It's just not possible. if it looks as if they're verging on defeat, you can just say they'll do what they have to do, but they will not accept another defeat in Lebanon. On the other hand, Hezbollah, if it looks like it's tending towards a defeat, it's almost inconceivable that Iran won't step in, not because of solidarity, but because they'll know they're next. And so you have the prospect that an Israeli attack on Hezbollah will trigger a chain reaction, the outcome of which no sane person would want to contemplate. Well, where does that leave us now? On the side of the Palestinians in the Israel-Palestine conflict, there are many new developments now, one of which was mentioned by the person who introduced me, what seems to be the possibility of a new Palestinian strategy to go around or bypass what's called the peace process and head straight to the UN, regardless of what the U.S. wants or desires. I don't know where that will go, but one thing we can say with certainty, and that there never has been a peace process. There isn't one now, and there won't be one for the foreseeable future. That's not rhetoric. I'll agree, many people given to rhetoric make statements of that sort, but it's also what a rational person concludes. Rational people, reasonable people, they judge by results and outcomes, not by words. You could say in the initial phase of a process, yes, we judge by words. But as a process unfolds, we then judge by outcomes and results. So let's look at the outcomes and results, because 17 years have elapsed since the so-called peace process began. It began, as some of you will recall, others of you are way too young, it began in September 1993 with the famous handshake on the White House lawn between Mr. Rabin, Mr. Arafat, and presided over by President Clinton. And that inaugurated what was called the Oslo peace process. As I said, now 17 years have elapsed. So let's do what rational people do. Let's do what reasonable people do. We hear the words peace process, peace process, peace process, peace process. We have to resume the peace process. We have to jumpstart the peace process. We hear it incessantly. But rational people, they don't judge by words, they judge by outcomes and results. So in 1993, there were 250,000